Rated it precious.
Good day, Preciouses! We hope you're doing great today, for we come bearing good news. It's the return of Peter Jackson to the Lord of the Rings franchise. Not just Peter Jackson, but Fran Walsh and Philippa Boyens, who were involved in the screenplay of the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, are returning too. Perhaps the best news of all is that Andy Serkis is going to bring Gollum to life one more time. Who doesn't remember how Gollum won all of our hearts when he said, "What's taters, precious?" Well, we hope for a lot more of that in this movie. To give us a bit of a backstory about Gollum, he was a Stour hobbit named Smeagol, who came to possess the One Ring created by the Dark Lord Sauron. As he coveted the ring, his lifespan extended greatly, and he became twisted, and came to be known as Gollum. Now, without further ado, let's get into everything we know thus far regarding the Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. When is the movie releasing? Perhaps the first thing on everyone's mind is, when do we get to see The Hunt for Gollum? Well, while the good news is that the movie is definitely in the works, the somewhat bad news is that it might not be released until 2026. That's 2 long years. Moreover, no release date is confirmed either. So yes, there's a long time to go. However, you can sweeten that wait a bit. Did you know that there's a fan movie titled The Hunt for Gollum as well? Yes, it follows Aragorn's capture of Gollum and Gollum's subsequent escape. So this is something that you can watch in the meantime. Why Gollum? Peter Jackson had zero expectations of going back to the Lord of the Rings franchise, so it begs the question, why Gollum? In his own words, he said that he finds Gollum a very fascinating creature, whose lifespan is set around what he considers to be the most interesting period in the Middle-earth. While some may disagree with that, and say that they find the First and Second Ages of Middle-earth more interesting, there's no denying that following Gollum will also give a chance to explore many other storylines and characters. Aragorn definitely, maybe even Gandalf, Bilbo Baggins, Legolas, and Galadriel. So it kind of makes sense why Peter Jackson wants to return to Middle-earth with Gollum, as the scope of what can be explored within his storyline is enormous. Moreover, Gollum himself is a worthy character to get into. The Gollum side of his character showcases what is truly evil in the world, while the Smeagol side of his character is far more sympathetic. The plotline of the movie. So, thus far, no plotline for the movie has been confirmed. Therefore, we can only speculate as to what the movie is going to showcase. And for this, maybe we should just go by the book. Now, a bit of Gollum's story has been explored in both the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit trilogies, but never in detail. So it's not a reach to say that the hunt for Gollum is going to begin with the story of Smeagol. Now, we did see glimpses of Smeagol in The Return of the King. He was a Stour hobbit who lived with his grandmother for a time. On his birthday, when he went fishing in the Gladden Fields with his cousin, Deagle, it was Deagle who came to find the One Ring. However, as soon as Smeagol lays his eyes on the One Ring, he's drawn to it and immediately demands that Deagle give it to him as a birthday present. Obviously, Deagle refuses. Enraged, Smeagol chokes Deagle to death and becomes the bearer of the One Ring around TA 2463. The ring, as is its nature, takes hold of Smeagol and comes to corrupt him, due to which he's banished by his grandmother and other people. The ring slowly comes to twist his mind as well as his body, extending his lifespan beyond what is natural, and he soon comes to call it his precious. All alone, Smeagol comes to take refuge in the Misty Mountains, where we know that he's later discovered by Bilbo Baggins. However, Smeagol's life in the Misty Mountains itself is worth exploring, which the hunt for Gollum might not miss out on. Smeagol's life in the Misty Mountains is rather lonely and sad. He came to live on fish, bats, and sometimes even young orcs. Now, there's speculation that Gollum might have turned into a cannibal, as he intended to eat Bilbo. However, that's just speculation. Moreover, it's in the Misty Mountains that the Gollum personality emerges, where there's a kind of split between the rather good Smeagol and the evil Gollum. Over time, Smeagol disappears and Gollum takes over. However, Smeagol is not completely lost, as we get to see him in Gollum's conversations with Frodo Baggins. This is one of those major instances where psychological illness is explored in the Middle-earth, and it will be interesting to see how the hunt for Gollum handles it, if it does at all, which we sure do hope it does. Anyway, while Gollum's life in the Misty Mountains is worth exploring, perhaps the most exciting aspect of his life here is when he's discovered by Bilbo and trades riddles with him. Of course, we did see that in The Hobbit, so will we catch a glimpse of it here again? As a bit of a throwback? Maybe. Moving on, the hunt for Gollum actually begins with his search for Bilbo after he finds the ring, which Gollum had lost. It's then that he leaves his refuge, the Misty Mountains, to find Bilbo and get the ring from him. However, Bilbo's trail becomes cold, so instead we might get to see Gollum making his way to Mordor. Now, this move is a bit confusing, but what you have to remember is that during this time, Sauron was calling all evil toward himself, so Gollum was drawn there without his conscious will. Thranduil. While there, he escapes Shelob, the giant spider, and then gets captured by Sauron's forces, where he's subjected to intense torture. Now, glimpses of this were shown in the Fellowship of the Ring movie, but there is scope for exploring this in greater detail in The Hunt for Gollum, and something that might make viewers sympathize with Gollum more. Anyway, once Sauron gets what he wants from Gollum, he lets him go. Once Gollum is let go, he's once again captured by none other than our favorite ranger, Aragorn. Following his second capture, Gollum is subjected to more interrogation, but this time by yet another fan-favorite character, Gandalf. It's during this interrogation that Gandalf comes to suspect that Bilbo might currently be the bearer of the One Ring. Gandalf then places Gollum with the Sylvan Elves of Mirkwood, where Thranduil and Legolas also reside. However, Gollum escapes them. Now this is the reason why Legolas travels all the way to Rivendell to inform that Gollum has been missing, and later on becomes a part of the Fellowship. It might be great if we get to witness Legolas' journey as well. Finally, Gollum goes toward the Shire to find Bilbo, and passes through Moria. There, he waits, and as luck has it, he stumbles upon the Fellowship, leading to the events we get to witness in the Two Towers movie. So you see, there's a lot to explore in The Hunt for Gollum, with the main points being Gollum's origins in the Misty Mountains, trading riddles with Bilbo, his capture by Sauron, and the torture he's subjected to, and then finally his capture by Aragorn, and the subsequent questioning by Gandalf. With this setting, there's a lot of scope for exploring the intricacies of other characters. For one, Aragorn and his life as a ranger, as well as his relationship with Arwen. Moreover, when we see Aragorn and Legolas in the Fellowship of the Ring, they have an established friendship between them. So it'll be interesting to see if The Hunt for Gollum showcases the beginning of their camaraderie. Finally, we can get to see some of the other favorite characters like Gandalf, Bilbo, Thranduil, and Galadriel, amongst others as well. The cast of The Hunt for Gollum. Andy Serkis has confirmed that he's reprising his role as Gollum in The Hunt for Gollum, but as for the others, it's speculation. Now, Viggo Mortensen has expressed interest in reprising his role of Aragorn in the movie, and we can all agree that it will be the best news for a while, as he's literally Aragorn playing Aragorn. Moreover, there's speculation that Sir Ian McKellen, Lee Pace, Orlando Bloom, and Cate Blanchett, amongst others, may also reprise their roles in the movie. While at this point, it's only wishful thinking. We definitely hope that all our wishes of seeing the best cast in action once more are granted. More good news. Well, Peter Jackson has usually released trilogies when it comes to the Middle-earth, so can we expect another trilogy as well? Not really, but Peter Jackson has confirmed that there are 2 Lord of the Rings movies he intends to release, and one of them is The Hunt for Gollum. The second movie is not known as of yet, but with something as huge as J.R.R. Tolkien's Legendarium, there's a lot of material to be explored. Moreover, given that critics and even fans did complain that The Hobbit seemed to drag unnecessarily, it comes as a welcome surprise that The Hunt for Gollum is restricted to 1 movie. Marvelous verdict. So there we have it, preciouses. All we know about the upcoming movie, The Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum, is it's going to be released in 2026, with Peter Jackson at the helm once again. Fans who have been majorly disappointed with Amazon's treatment of J.R.R. Tolkien's Legendarium are overly relieved to see that it's once again in the safe hands of Peter Jackson, something that we cannot disagree with entirely either. What's also great is that there's another movie to look forward to apart from The Hunt for Gollum. So, Lord of the Rings fans, there are a lot of pleasant surprises in store for you. Stay tuned, and if you like our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone!
Always stuff in his face when masses are looking.
That's a filthy lie! Ugh!